Hello, this is Sean, and welcome to the first episode of A Tale of a Frugal Gamer. So the idea of these videos, the Frugal Gamer series, is to talk about inexpensive ways to do some gaming items. Models can be expensive, and sometimes you're working on projects that you just don't want to spend a ton of money on. So I thought I'd put together some videos of a couple of things that I do on the cheap, and thought that it might be of interest to some other folks out there. So today we're going to talk about skeletons. I started working on a Kings of War army, and I've got some Games Workshop Undead models, and I'm converting them over to be used for Kings of War by Mantic Games. And I don't have enough to make a whole big army, so I thought, well, let's look around, see what kind of inexpensive skeleton models I can find. Obviously, Games Workshop has a number. Reaper Bones has some skeleton options. Mantic Games has a pretty nice selection of skeletons that you can get that aren't very expensive. But I thought I'd look to see what I could do for super cheap. So I got on Amazon and found some skeletons, and that's I'll put up a picture. And they're called Skeleton War. It's just a bag of, comes in bags of 20, and I got 5 bags for like $14. They are, however, a little big. You can see here the scales, they're not quite twice as tall as this is a Games Workshop skeleton. It's kind of old, so I don't know if the new ones are bigger than this, but it looks decent. You know, it's got kind of a Egyptian theme to it. It's like it's got the, I don't know what these are called, the clothing from the Egyptian environment. It's got little pieces of armor on it, and I was like, well, maybe they're not going to work because they're awful big. But then I got to thinking about it. Well, maybe they're ogre skeletons, or maybe they're just some other large beast skeleton, a troll skeleton, or short giants. I don't know. So how could I integrate them and use them in my army still? So, as you know, Kings of War is based around the footprint. So you can base the models all together, and well, I thought, well, maybe this necromancer that put this army together was raised some ogres for his army. So with 8 guys, 8 regular sized skeletons, and just 2 of the big guys, well, that fills up the tray. Looks cool, and it might be an option to thin the herd, so to speak, so you don't need quite as many models on the base, but it still fills it, and it looks like a full regiment. Another option is just to use them all by themselves. This is one base that I painted, and my thought is, like, these are gonna stand in my undead army as probably zombie trolls. Not exactly zombie trolls, but they look neat, and for game purposes they're on the right base, and they'll be a good substitute for zombie trolls, I think, and they theme well with the zombie army. Another idea I had, because I've got about 100 of these guys, is you could actually just make an ogre army using the ogre list, and use skeletons for all of it. Base them up like this, on the appropriate size base, whether you're doing a regiment or a troop or whatever, and you have an undead army, but play it as if they're trolls, proxying these models in for trolls. And maybe some tournament organizers wouldn't allow that, but I think that most folks at your local shop wouldn't care, and if it's paint up, looks nice, you know, I really can't imagine anybody would be too grumpy about it. There are some limitations on some of the unit choices, though. So if I were going to do this, I would want to make sure that all of my units were themed appropriately with that idea in mind. You know, these big archers could easily be the boomers, or whatever the big guns, infantry mounted guns they have. But as you start to look at monsters, you know, maybe you could find a skeletal giant, or different things for the characters and heroes and all that. So that was just a couple ideas of a cheap way to either flesh out an undead army, or to use these as a proxy for an ogre army. Another idea that somebody had posted is to use this kind of basing for the Empire of Dust. They have some sort of enslaved monster, and this might be a good idea for that kind of thing as well. Well, thanks for watching episode 1 of A Tale of a Frugal Gamer. I hope to post more videos of cheap ideas for different gaming hobbies, ideas, either be it terrain, models for your armies, or different things like that. If you like this, you can comment, subscribe, and share it with others. And I'll see you next time.